Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. And happy to be part of this session, and of course, among such distinguished panelists. And of course, many thanks for the invitation, Dr. Abla, and for the ACES, and for the CAIRO Forum for the 3 days, I think, or two days lengthy discussions, but very important ones. And as it has been mentioned by Ms. Leheta, it's very timely, crucial. I promise you I will not go through the whole details of the presentation, but very important before going into the details of what we do within the Suez Canal Economic Zone to capitalize on what has been mentioned during this session within the introductory remarks of course, Ms. Leheta, and of course with your remarks. Because what has been mentioned about the connectivity and the corridors is also a reflection of the vision that we are having here in order to develop well the Suez Canal Economic Zone. And the Suez Canal Economic Zone in itself goes in line with the country objective in order to have a flagship of a deep and comprehensive localization of industrial development within the Suez Canal corridor and within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. Very important to put in our consideration that logistics is a very vital factor, but it's not enough. It needs also to be linked with the innovation and hubs to be implemented within the zone in itself. And this is what we do. Digitalization is very important pillar. Speaking of the future, and of course, how we can have the enabling factors to enhance investments and to make the proper facilitation to attract businesses. And this is exactly what we try to tackle. The integration in itself, and this is very important to put in our consideration that we are following what we call an integrated approach. Not only an integration between the soft skills versus hard skills, but also an integration between the ports in itself, the industrial zones, and the surrounding communities and cities. Surrounding communities in order to make sure that the required human resources and the human capital is well secured for sustainable objectives. And of course, for the facilities and the services related to any business to be enhanced and to be sustained. Of course, we benefit a lot, and we will. This is part of the competitive advantage. Speaking of the long-term vision of the Suez Canal in itself, of course, will remain one of the very important trading routes within the globe. But of course, we need to enhance its competitiveness, and this is what we do even within the Suez Canal Economic Zone and the integration between what has been done within Egypt. The railway network, the routes, the bridge, the tunnels, even connecting the east with the west. There is a new Suez Canal through the railway system that already not has to be established, but we already started that, and we are about to finalize that by next year, inshallah, connecting SCZONE to Alexandria through the railway network, which is also will adding a value. And I think the next presentation by the esteemed panelists will reveal more about the alternative routes and the impact of such routes on the trading system. I'll stop here, but this is just to put in our consideration that we have a clear vision to enhance and to sustain the business within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. And to answer the very important question that you mentioned during your introductory remarks, Dr. Abla, the integration between the Suez Canal in itself and the Suez Canal Economic Zone, this is what we do. Innovation, as I mentioned, as part of our investment attraction and investment promotion strategy is part of it to attract high-scale industries. We already started and finalized deals and leads with some sort of investment for the future, like the data centers. And this is what we do. It's not only about the industry in itself, but the services, which is very important to put in our consideration. And with that, allow me to go very quickly with a very brief slides about the Suez Canal Economic Zone. No need to mention, of course, all of us is fully aware of the map of Egypt, and of course, the map of the Suez Canal and the Suez Canal Economic Zone. But put in our consideration, this is what we have, and actually there are updates every day about the number and the amount and the quality of the investment that we are having within the Suez Canal. Currently, it's not only 400. I was reviewing the detailed database, and we happy to share with you that we already reached 500 investment projects working within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. We have 4 industrial zones, and this is, again, what I need to clarify. The integrated approach, we try to, and this is a part of the concept of having the Suez Canal Economic Zone. The proximity of the industrial zone to the port in itself is a facilitation to do business. To attract the investment, they are looking into the CAPEX and OPEX, and to be established within the Suez Canal Economic Zone, you will be cutting 60 to 70% from the transportation and distribution related cost. And this is in itself a huge factor to enhance and to attract investment. What we follow to do business within the Suez Canal Economic Zone, we try to tailor our services according to the needs of the investor. Either through what we call an industrial developer approach. So we dedicate a specific industrial zone to be well developed under the domain of one of the key industrial developers, and to promote and to help also such developer to promote for attracting a specific investments according to the master plan. But some investors prefer to have a direct contractual or institutional relationship with the Suez Canal in itself, and this is what we do through our investment arm and investment hat. So we have multiple hats as regulator, as facilitator, as a partner, and as an infrastructure developer as well. And this is also what we do. So we created multiple hats, multiple arms in order to serve, as I mentioned, the needs of the investors. Again, 4 industrial zones linked with 6 sea main ports. Part of them is East Port Said and the SCZONE, of course, major and famous ports, but not only such 2 ports. Currently, as we speak, as you see, and there is also investments as we go for Al Arish port due to what we have in terms of geopolitical situation. Also, we are developing well a Tour port, which is a small port in South Sinai, but very important for the service of the area and for the local industries and localization and shipping along with the touristic related services. Again, this is the international statistics about the indicators for the trade and either international trade or seaborne trade, and the number of ships per year that running through our zone, and of course through the Suez Canal Economic Zone. But numbers are sometimes different and differs through to the different reasons that we are having. But this is in general the average within the last 3 to 5 years. Again, this is a very important slide, and actually it takes lots of discussions when we sit with investors about the connection not only between the Suez Canal Economic Zone and the rest of the world, but also the connectivity. And this is a very important dimension for the localization and for the industrial development of a country. The connectivity between different locations and the interplay between the infrastructure development and the industrial development. As you see, and the codes is also a reflection for an impactful investment. The color code or the black color code related to the key surrounding cities and communities, and including in it the universities, the new universities that we are having in each city, which also a source of the manpower and the required labor skills and other services as well. The red color code for the tunnels and the connectivity between the east to the west, and of course the highways, or the blue color code is a reflection for the highways. And this is exactly what the investors will look into. the services that the investor needs, of course, and the related facilitation requirement or facilities that has been required in order to enhance and to sustain the business. Of course, and I think you mentioned, and the other colleagues will mention as well, for what we will do in terms of trade. Egypt has a solid network of free trade agreement, and which also a clear reflection of the vision that the country has or have, but very important to put in our consideration. The diversification of such network of free trade agreement is in itself an opportunity to open market and to have the proper market access. And this is exactly another gateway to enhance businesses and to localize industries. And 70%, at least 70% of all establishments or investment projects within the Suez Canal Economic Zone is to target export markets, and which is very important to put in our consideration how we can make the proper or to strike the right balance between different factors in order to enhance the business, including the solid network of free trade agreements. I need all of us to recognize this is what we are having as a symbol of international players and investors within the Suez Canal Economic Zone, but there are many other players. And this is again goes into what we do currently, and all of us, and I know I'm with an esteemed and great mentors when it comes to the economic philosophy and theory, but supply chain diplomacy is through such players and add the local players, and this is very important to consider in order to enhance the doing business within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. I will close by the following. No need to go through the indicators, and this is a very detailed presentation, as you mentioned, but in terms of facilitation, we have one-stop shop system within the Suez Canal Economic Zone, covering currently around 80 to 90 services that we are providing within the Suez Canal. And this is not the end. We are also taking into consideration the needs of the investor for an inclusive, transparent, and of course, fast-track delivery of the service. And this is what we do to digitalize all of our services, not only related to the one-stop shop and the investor-related services, but also taxes and customs. And this is very important to put in your consideration that a huge digitalization platform has been created, and in the upcoming months there will be new announcement about how we can better enhance our services and the impact of going into a digitalized platforms in order to secure the deals and the leads, and of course the required services for and from the investment point of view. I'll stop here because there are lots to say, but this is just to give you a glimpse of what we are doing within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. We're happy to answer any question and also to reflect on any of your points. Thank you very much, and of course I will reflect on the question.
Do you need the presentation again?
Yeah, just to explain a few points. But to capitalize on what has been mentioned, the 4 Bs, I think, already applied when it comes to the Suez Canal Economic Zone. You have the place and you have the people, and we are investing, by the way. Currently, we managed to attract 3 key projects when it comes to the vocational training and innovation. And one of them is already started the operations. Publicity, we need to do more, of course, and the best way to announce and to promote through the business and through the success of the business cycle and through a better facilitation. For green hydrogen, and this is part of the key industries or sector that we are trying to attract. I don't know where is the presentation, because I need to show a few slides. But before going to the green hydrogen, for India, and I think this is part of the question. Of course, our relation, economic relation and trade relation with India goes back to 2 years from now. But of course, there are lots of potential that we need to enhance. When it comes to the Suez Canal Economic Zone, we already managed to attract Indian investors within the Suez Canal Economic Zone, who currently are in discussion of finalizing a very important deals, but I will not mention the details, but I will show you the location because this is part of the localization and the diversity of the investment that we try to attract within the Suez Canal. This is one of the areas that I think it will be the hub for more Indian industries. One of our industrial zone was what we call the East Ismailia, and East Ismailia is a prime location, and this is on the east of the canal, and this is one of the areas that we managed to attract Indian investments over there, and it's a pioneer industries for localization of the industrial development in terms of feeding industry into a specific mining sector, and of course for silicon production and others, and to benefit from the area and the basic characteristics and the mining related indicators for that area. This is number one. Number two, of course, it's not only the bilateral relation, but after joining the BRICS, there is also lots of potential areas of collaboration between Egypt and India. In the green hydrogen, there is already existing discussions with an Indian investors, and in the power generation as well. Yesterday, I had a very long discussions with an Indian company, one of mega project that I think it will lead into a huge impact, inshallah. Speaking of the green hydrogen, this is for all of us just to visualize the green hydrogen industry. This is the full supply chain and of the green hydrogen and the related industries. Of course, SCZONE in Egypt is the hub for green hydrogen and localization of the green hydrogen industries. But out of the SCZONE, as you see, renewable generation, of course, to be generated, connectivity through the national grid, and then you'll start the process within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. Power and the desalination plant after the connectivity of the renewable power or the renewable energy generation, then the power substations, green hydrogen production, and each of those pillars is in itself another investment opportunity. And this is what also we try to attract, and we managed to attract many investors in each of those areas. Of course, nitrogen production, air separation process, then goes to the ammonia production, and this is a very important pillar for the fueling, of course, within the shipping industries and for the green shipping as well. Utility corridor, which we already made a huge investments as Egypt and as SCZONE, and storage facility and bunkering within the port in itself. So this is an explanation for what we do to localize and to, of course, to attract the green hydrogen related industries within the Suez Canal Economic Zone.
This is, by the way, very, very impressive operation. Just that time does not allow us to go through the whole thing.
This is the industry just before, less than 1 minute, just for all of us. This is the mainstream related industry, and this is back to how we can attract Indian and others to do investments within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. And for each of those streams, we have a pitch back, detailed one, in order to enhance the discussions and to show the value proposition for each of the industries within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. With that, I'll thank you. Very quickly, Vision of Africa is part of what we do in terms of enhancing and attracting business to the Suez Canal, not only to attract companies to target the African market, but also I have multiple cases for investors who already started to establish their businesses within an African markets and come to invest in Egypt, and then they have this sort of, again, supply chain connectivity between the establishment within the Suez Canal Economic Zone and the establishment within one of the African markets. This is number one. Part of the resilience, and I think this is very important, what I mentioned about that sort of new Suez Canal through SCZONE, Alexandria railway network. And this is very important pillar to enhance the competitiveness and the resilience of the Suez Canal and doing business within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. Additionally, and very important, and I know I participated even within the negotiation and of the Africa We Want Agenda 2063, and the key pillars and the industry that I already showed on the screen goes directly into the heart of the industrial development and localization of the African market. Finally, it's not only about COMESA, but also the integrations. And here, the rules of origin is very important, the local content. And this is what other industries looking into it. The African Continental Free Trade Area is also another very important pillar to enhance and to attract investments to the SCZONE and through SCZONE to Africa. Thank you very much.